This week I witnessed the greatest moment in television drama on She-Ra, Princess of Power. So, I've been excited to show my 3-year-old He-Man, and right next to it on Netflix is She-Ra. You might not know, He-Man has a twin sister who got her own spin-off show. So we get to the end of the He-Man episode, my daughter is meh, but She-Ra's right next to it on the Netflix page, and she says, next time I will watch that yellow-haired princess on a unicorn. Like, they knew who they were marketing this show to. So our daddy-daughter time is She-Ra now. So the first plot arc in She-Ra shows this flashback, and this bad guy named Hordak abducts Princess Adora as a baby and raises her up to believe that he's this benevolent and just ruler, as this witch put brainwashing spells on her, and she advances to actually a very high-ranking officer in his army. Present day, her sword shows up in He-Man's realm, and there's a vision showing that somebody needs this sword to battle evil. He-Man goes on this quest, he comes to Hordak's realm, sees the people are all oppressed, falls in with some rebels, and while they're rescuing some villagers, crosses swords with Adora. The sword he's carrying starts to glow. She's the rightful owner. He-Man convinces her to go see for herself what kind of ruler Hordak actually is. So she goes out and she sees the soldiers, stealing a horse from a family, pushing a kid down in the dirt, blowing up somebody's house with lasers. She realizes everything she was raised to believe is a lie. Takes up the sword, and changes her clothes, she becomes She-Ra. She and He-Man fight in several battles together. And then it's time for He-Man to go back to Eternia and for She-Ra to stay here and defend these people. And He-Man weeps. And they part ways. And that's the end of the episode. This is like a 5-episode plot arc building up to this moment, and that's the end of the episode. And I look at my 3-year-old, and she looks like... And I said, did you see He-Man cry? Yeah. Just broke down, crying, laughing, and I just held her. Could not contain the emotion. This was her first experience with a bittersweet story. Because she wasn't just crying because she saw a character shed tears. Because we'd actually seen that happen a couple of times in the episodes leading up to this. We'd actually seen many more tears get shed. I don't even think she was crying because two characters parted ways. Because the characters parted ways and said their goodbyes throughout the story. I think she was crying because she had witnessed duty and sacrifice. She's 3 years old. She's not at an age where she can understand concepts like duty intellectually. She's not even able to understand friendship or parental love conceptually, intellectually. She understands them as experiences. Through this story, she experienced duty. Because even though she can't understand it intellectually, she can resonate with a story about duty. Logic is a sequence that we follow, like a domino chain. A story is a shape that we take on. It's a form of understanding that is completely different, if not more important, than logic. By relating this character, She-Ra, by in a sense becoming her while watching the show, her little soul was put into the shape of duty. And it hurt. But it was a good kind of hurt. And I was crying too. I had moisture. Because in spite of the cheesiness of this show, it's not a well-drawn program. The story was about something deep. That is why I believe in this hobby. This is a hobby based on stories, and even if you're not telling a story that's about something as deep and important as duty and sacrifice, you are stepping into whatever story you're telling in a deeper way than if you were only watching it on a screen. It's good to experience stories on screens and in books, and in most cases, those stories are going to be deeper than the ones you play out at your table. Let's just be honest. But for you to actually go through the exercise together as a group of creating a story, of being inside it, your involvement with the story can be very intimate. My 3-year-old understands what duty is from watching a story about it. That is why story should always trump rules. And that's why I'm always going to be doing all that I can to teach you how to tell good stories, the stories that you want to tell and your players want to resonate with at your table.